The military-industrial complex. It sounds like a boring term, but it's about a scary reality. It's the relationship between the government, the military, and defense companies. This relationship is cozy, and it's profitable, especially for the defense companies. They make big bucks selling weapons. Think of it like a three-way friendship. The military wants cool new weapons. Defense contractors are happy to build them. And the government, well, they foot the bill with your tax dollars. This creates a system where war is good for business, and that's a problem. The military-industrial complex thrives on fear. It tells us we need more weapons to stay safe. But more weapons don't always mean more security. Sometimes they just mean more conflict and more profits for defense contractors. It's a vicious cycle. Defense contractors are businesses. They have shareholders to please and profits to make. War is good for business. The more conflicts there are, the more weapons they sell, and the more money they make. These companies spend millions lobbying politicians. They want to keep the money flowing. They want to make sure the US keeps intervening in conflicts around the world. After all, conflicts create demand for their deadly products. It's easy to see these companies as faceless corporations. But they are run by people who profit from war, people who benefit from the suffering of others. It's a sobering thought. Media plays a huge role in shaping public opinion, and guess what? Most major media outlets are owned by giant corporations with ties to the military-industrial complex. These media companies often present a pro-war narrative. They focus on the threats, the enemies, the need for military action. They rarely question the motives behind wars or the potential consequences. This isn't to say that all media is biased, but it's important to be aware of the influence of corporate media and to seek out diverse perspectives, especially when it comes to issues of war and peace. Remember Trump, the guy who promised to end America's endless wars? Well, it turned out to be more complicated than that. Trump talked a big game about peace, but he also increased military spending and escalated conflicts in some parts of the world. The media's coverage of Trump's war policies was all over the place. Some outlets criticized his hawkish tendencies, others praised his tough stance. It was confusing to say the least. Trump's presidency highlighted the complexities of war and peace, and the challenges of navigating the influence of the military-industrial complex. It was a wild ride. Now, not everyone agrees with this whole military-industrial complex thing. Some people say it's a conspiracy theory. They argue that the US military is necessary to protect American interests, and that defense contractors are just doing their job. They point out that the media is diverse, that there are plenty of outlets that criticize US foreign policy, and they argue that the US has a long history of intervening in conflicts for humanitarian reasons. These are valid points. It's important to consider all sides of the story. The truth is, the relationship between the media, the military, and defense contractors is complex. There's no easy answer. We live in an age of information overload. It's hard to know what to believe, especially when it comes to war. Governments and media outlets often manipulate information. They spin narratives to fit their agendas. This makes it difficult to form informed opinions. We're constantly bombarded with propaganda from all sides. It's like trying to see through a fog of misinformation. So, how do we navigate this complex landscape? How do we separate fact from fiction? It's not easy, but it's more important than ever. The first step is to be critical of everything you read and hear. Question the source. Consider the author's biases. Look for evidence to support the claims. Don't just accept things at face value. Be wary of sensational headlines and emotional language. These are often used to manipulate your emotions. Instead, focus on the facts and seek out diverse perspectives. Remember, knowledge is power. The more informed you are, the better equipped you'll be to see through the fog of information warfare. Section 8. The power of public opinion. Public opinion matters. Governments are influenced by what the people think. If enough people oppose a war, it becomes much harder for governments to justify it. That's why it's so important to speak out, to make your voice heard. Write to your elected officials, attend protests, engage in thoughtful discussions. Every little bit helps. The military-industrial complex is powerful, but it's not invincible. The power of the people is even greater. The relationship between media, the military, and defense contractors is messy. It's complicated. and it's constantly evolving. There's no easy answer. But that doesn't mean we should give up. We need to keep asking questions, challenging the status quo, and seeking truth in a world of spin. The future of war and peace depends on it. War is a complex issue. There are no easy answers, but one thing is clear. We need to find a better way. A way to resolve conflicts peacefully. A way to break the cycle of violence. It won't be easy, but it's worth fighting for. The future of humanity may depend on it. Let's choose peace.